Hey, good afternoon. Finally, the sun is out. So I came out as well in the hope of, well, catching a bit of sun. I hope the clouds don't come out again. It's not that the sky is blue. Look, I left off telling you a bit, um, about looking at disease through the spiritual lens, so to say. And I wanted to speak a little bit about the aspect of grace, my experiences with that, because I found that, you can practice. There's so many practices, right, when it comes to spirituality. There's the movement practices, and then there's the sitting meditation, all the mindfulness, and all that. But there's always behind that, for me, there's the notion that I can decide something, and there's a certain element of discipline, and by practicing, something will then happen, that I have agency. And in my last video I mentioned the 12-step program, and the element of prayer, of acknowledging that I'm actually helpless. I can't do it myself. I am powerless, in the case of addiction, to get myself out of it. And I'm not fully subscribing to any of it, right? But I do want to acknowledge that for me, it's neither nor. For me, it's almost as if it's both at the same time. And so how I experience it is, there is the element of practicing, so to say, of maintaining a daily routine, for example, any kind of mindfulness practice, is setting the stage, cultivating, so to say, cultivating the soil. But then, throwing out seeds and doing all these things, but then the rest is not really in my hands, I feel. So I'm basically showing up, and then what happens is the element of grace. That's how I experience it. And I think if we see it like that, then there's only so much what I can really do. And then the rest, very humbly, I try to acknowledge the rest is magic. Actually, I keep telling students the same thing in the context of language learning. I always tell them, look, it's not up to you to decide how many repetitions you need for any given word or for any given expressions. The only thing that is in your hands is to do the necessary repetition until that word gets activated, and becomes part of your active vocabulary, so to say. And whether we do these number of repetitions, whether it's 2, 20 or 200 in one day or in 1 year, that's what we can do. So if we can just show up and then the rest leave to whatever decides that, it takes out a lot of the struggle and the striving and the doubting and all the rest of it. So for me, this is really an opportunity as well to invite myself to look into prayer, to look into really acknowledging that element of grace. Not only in the sense of language learning, but much more importantly when it comes to living life at large, and especially this disease. So what does that really mean then for myself? What's the practice, and what's the element that I can't determine? Another thing that comes to mind are these kind of koans, these weird riddles, like the effortless effort. What on earth? I mean, how can you make an effort without making an effort? Or the eternal beginner's mind. Well, how can you keep the openness of a beginner's mind after having meditated thousands of hours, after having had certain experiences, right? So this is where the mind kind of goes like, I can only go up to this point, and beyond this point thought doesn't go. That's how I experience it. Yeah, this is what comes to mind today. And since the last video was very long, maybe I'm making today's short. Yeah. I'm so happy. So happy that today is unfolding the way it is. And I hope you're good. I hope you're well.